Hello. We're back in Cebu, as the title will probably indicate. Just wanted to give a pretty quick update here on domestic travel here around the Philippines. I'll give a brief bit about an update on international, some changes that have just happened since we got here. So, without further ado, into our experience, firsthand experience with domestic travel, primarily by what they refer to as land trip, by taxi, series bus, V-Hire, and ferry. That's the main way, of course, the tricycles, things like that. That's the main way we've traveled around here. We've kind of made a circle. We landed in Mactan, Cebu. We went to the southern part of Cebu and caught the ferry over to Dumaguete, which is Negros Oriental. We took a bus up to her family's little hometown, or the port town near her family's place, which is Gehonglan. Then from there, we went back. I'll get into all those details, but basically we've made a big circle. So the trip to Dumaguete, so ferry trip from, I forget the port, Batu, I believe it is, Batu to Dumaguete. It was no problem whatsoever there. On paper, they would require a negative COVID test, and I believe that's all, if you're unvaccinated. If you're vaccinated, there's no requirements anymore. None of that. But we are unvaccinated, so we had just exited our quarantine. We had our paperwork saved on my phone for the vaccination. We were not vaccinated, but for the negative COVID test, because we were required to have a negative COVID test on the 5th day. So we did have our negative COVID test, and we were prepared to present that, but we didn't just volunteer it. She handled buying our tickets, and that's how we normally work things. She buys the tickets, I carry the bags. So she got the tickets, and all they asked for was fare, really. You paid the fare, you paid the terminal fee, you paid all the fees, you paid the money, and you ride. That's our experience going from here, or from Cebu to Dumaguete. No problem whatsoever. I did mention that my wife normally handles buying the tickets. That's been our procedure even pre-COVID. That's just how we work things. I carry the bags, she buys the tickets. I carry the heavy stuff, and she gets the dealing with the locals. For me, that's a better way to go. She's familiar with procedures. It's just a better way for me, for us. The reason I'm disclosing that is one of my viewers said, well, yeah, it's easy for you. You're in a different situation, being married to a Filipina. And that's probably true. So you may have a little different outcome, a little different experience if you're traveling alone, if you're foreign national, unvaccinated, traveling alone. Personally, I think you're still going to not have any problems. Most people are over the COVID stuff. But, just because you are you stand out, the squeaky, what is it? The squeaky hinge gets the grease. So you're going to stand out. That's my only thing that I would say might be a little concern. Blend in as much as possible. When we went to get our tickets, when we went on the ferry, we wore our mask just to blend in and not cause any problems. If you are traveling, if you have a Filipina girlfriend, wife, or just friends that are traveling with you that are locals, personally, I would let them buy the tickets. One, they speak the language, they know the process. It's going to be a smoother, easier process for all involved. But if not, I think you're going to be fine. So that was our experience going to Dumaguete, no problem whatsoever. We were never asked for vaccination records of any form. We were never asked for a negative COVID test. I'm not saying that you won't be, but I really doubt that you would be. That was with that shipping company. I have heard that the one going from Tangil to Gehonglan, which is the port town near her hometown, is more strict. In fact, it's about the only strict one there in Negros that I know of. So that's just be aware. There may be different ports may implement things slightly different. Going Cebu, it's Batu, right? Batu. To Dumaguete, no problem whatsoever. Travel by bus, no problem. We experience plenty of travel around by bus, taxi, tricycle, land transportation. We had no problem whatsoever. If it was public or a lot of people, we put on our mask. If it was private, most of the time not. The next ferry trip we did was, we had a little mini vacation, just the two of us, to Siquijor. And I was a bit concerned about that one because reading online, they seem pretty strict. In fact, if you read some sources online, they're not even allowing unvaccinated. Others, they allow unvaccinated if you present a negative COVID test, different this and that. So I was a little concerned. I contacted the host of the Airbnb I was curious about or planning to book, and they reassured us that, yes, previously they were pretty strict, but they've pretty much dropped all those restrictions in implementation. It may still be on paper, but it's not being enforced. They assured us that. I was skeptical. I was hopeful, but skeptical, because I thought, well, of course they want us to book the Airbnb and take our chance. But I did book the Airbnb and we took our chance. Had we needed a negative COVID test, I was prepared to do that. I wasn't going to be vaccinated just to go to Siquijor, but I was prepared for some contingencies. Thankfully, it was the same procedure as going to Dumaguete. We went from Dumaguete to Siquijor. No problem whatsoever on the COVID front. Never asked for anything but payment, fare, and terminal fee. A side note, one thing that happened going there that was new for us is we were asked to line up our bags, and they brought in, actually 2 different agencies brought in canines and sniffed the bags. Maybe they were having tipped off, or maybe it was just a random thing. We didn't have any contraband of any type, so we weren't worried. So yeah, they had the Coast Guard come in, and then the PDEA, so Philippines Drug Enforcement Agency. Both come in, run the canines. It was kind of interesting to watch. One of the dogs had a little accident on somebody's bag, but thankfully that wasn't our bag. But yeah, it was fun. I like watching working dogs, so that was the only thing non-COVID related. No problem even there. The dogs did their job, got their reward. There was no contraband, so we were allowed to board the ship, and we went on to Siquijor. In Siquijor, pretty much the same as life here in Cebu. There in Negros, no major restrictions. A few places they may ask you to put on a mask. That's about it. I don't think we were ever asked. A couple places, in public places, we slipped on our mask just to be courteous, just to not cause any waves. But for the most part, it's life as usual. Trip back from Siquijor, same process, no problems. Past that, our next ferry trip was back here, the latest one, back here to Cebu. We decided to go an alternate route rather than going the direct route from Gihonglan, which is where we were staying, visiting her family, rather than going Gihonglan to Tangil, because we could have went that route, but it would have required a little more paperwork, a little more legwork, and a little more hassle. So we just decided to avoid the hassle. I think we would have needed a negative COVID test and some sort of medical certificate from just basically a doctor's note saying, yeah, you're all good, you're healthy, you're good to travel. Like I said, they're the most strict port there in Negros, Negros Oriental. So instead of going that route, we went alternate route through San Carlos to Toledo, Cebu, and again, that one went off without a hitch, paid our fare. We again had some working dogs come sniff our bags, and that was it. We're here in Cebu. A friend of ours who's a taxi driver picked us up. No problems. Here in Cebu City, you might have heard different reports. Our experience, firsthand experience, life is pretty much back to normal, except for, when you go into the mall, it's just part of the procedure now. You're going to wear a mask. It's kind of the security theater of checking your bags. Now you check your bag. They check your bag. They want you to have a mask on and pull your ball cap off. You do those few things, you're good to go. So that's pretty much our experience as domestic travel, land travel. That's firsthand. Secondhand experience. A friend and relative of my wife's. He flew to Manila from Cebu. At the time, he was partially vaccinated, which would be considered unvaccinated. He had just one dose. So I think he said, if memory serves, that he did have a negative COVID test, made his flight, there was no problem, and then his experience around Manila was pretty similar to our experience here in Cebu, going in the malls. He said once he was there in Manila, there was no issues. He could travel about. It was never asked for any proof of vaccination at that point. So that's domestic travel. A quick update on international travel. International arrivals, particularly, well, it goes for all international arrivals, but I'm dealing more with unvaccinated because that's our status, and probably your status if you're watching this video. I do have a previous video that was from from September of our arrival. You can check that out. A lot of that's going to still be valid, at least at this point in October, but there has been a major change And I'm going to link a video of Jennifer Terry. She goes over the change. Basically, the change is really just the change of the name. They've done away with One Health Pass, but really all they did was change the name. I believe now it's a health declaration, which is what it was before. They've just changed it from One Health Pass. Maybe they're rebranding. So One Health Pass has become kind of out of favor. So they've done away with One Health Pass, but they just changed the name. Check out her video. She goes into great detail about the procedure. It's a hassle, but it's what you have to do if you want to come at this point. I'm hoping they do away with that online declaration entirely. Some people don't have the access. Some people don't have the tech savvy. And for everyone, it's just an unnecessary hassle, in my opinion. So check her video out. Check my previous video out if you want some of our first-hand experience arriving as a unvaccinated foreign national. We were balik bayan. One of my viewers pointed out that, yeah, probably that's why that we didn't have problems, but there's several other people with videos who come as just foreign tourists, same procedure, except for they had a onward ticket. So I think even if you're a foreign tourist, businessman, or any other type of visa, so long as you're allowed visa-free travel, I don't think you're going to have big trouble. I think it's going to be the same procedure. Check that video out. If you're past this month, things are going to change again. So do your own research for the changes, but hopefully this helps you out with the current situation. That's pretty much it for now. I'll be putting out some other videos of different topics. Might do a review of this Airbnb staying here. I really like this one. I've got a few more I got to edit. So stay tuned for some of those. If you like this content, just give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you have questions. Leave your comments below. If you like the content, go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll get more of this. Still refining what content we're putting out. So it's up to you. What do you want to see? Is this it, or would you like something else? So let me know below. Positive, negatives, it's all good. And God bless, and have a great day. Bye.